haunting of Cossart Road in Chadsford, Pennsylvania. This is the legend of the DuPont's haunted Devil's Road and the Cult House. Mapped as Cossart Road, but often referred to as Hell Road, the Cult House Road, Satanville, PA, Beaver Valley Cult House. If you ignore all the oddly bent trees, all seemingly growing sideways as if repelled by the evil energy, this offbeat, hidden away road travels through what looks like a beautiful valley that alternates between fields and dense woodlines, peppered with only a few hard-to-see large old houses. But that's during the daylight. At night, this area changes. This place feels really different in the dark.
Just got here. It's 11:30. 11:30 at night.
Having driven down this road in the day and at night many times, and going as far as walking the entire road with my brother in the 2000s, we can attest this place is very eerie. The road may be hard to locate without GPS, as most of the street signs have been or were continuously removed. The mansion, hidden away in the woods on top of the hill, surrounded on most sides by trees, has become known as the Cult House. Legends say the house has inverted crosses hanging in the windows. Today, it looks like the windows are closely arranged so that there are long, tall, rectangular windows at the top and smaller square windows at the bottom, and the trim in between them creates a visual representation of inverted crosses. Whether or not that was their original intention remains unknown. At one point in time, it was owned and operated by one of the wealthiest and most prominent families in America, the DuPonts. Known for the DuPont Chemical Company, Nemours, hospitals for children, Longwood Gardens, and more, depending on your definition. To some degree, the house did host a cult, as it was common for the DuPont family members to marry and breed among the bloodline, marrying their second and even first cousins, so that the wealth would not be distributed outside of the family. It is known that this caused some instances of mental and physical disabilities that the high-status family wanted to hide away from the public. So this is where the deformed children of these unions were raised and kept hidden. It is rumored that many of these individuals were kept locked up on site for most of their lives. The excessive greed of the DuPonts led them to perform incestuous marriages in order to keep the fortune in the family. While some say it only belonged to the DuPonts, others claim the property was later sold and was sought out by Satanists for use in their heinous satanic rituals. Other unsubstantiated urban legends claim the KKK members made it a home base in the later years. Some of the natural phenomenons are the trees that line the road, which bend away from the road and house dramatically. As you get farther and farther away from the cult house, the trees straighten up back into the natural shape, tall and growing upwards. Other trees that stand out around the house are the skull trees, with the most famous one known as Baby's Cradle or Skull Tree. A deformed baby was found in the hollowed out tree trunk. Rumors were that the DuPont members of the cult house would use these trees for dumping babies who were born disabled. Over time, skull trees would devour their bodies fully and take on the shape of the child's skull. In the later years, outsiders began placing their sacrifices in the infamous roadside skull tree, which led to its openings being sealed with bricks and concrete. This only helped grow its lore. The tree garnered so much attention that it was finally fully removed some years back. The fuel for all these urban legends is the factual evidence. On December 30th, 1978, police uncovered the bodies of 3 boys of the Kitty Gang, murder victims who had disappeared in August. They were shot and killed by the infamous Johnston Gang. They were buried off Cossart Road around the Skull Tree near the Pennsylvania and Delaware border. James Jimmy Johnston, 18, Dwayne Lincoln, 17, Wayne Sampson, 20, who had been part of the very active crime ring that was threatening the Chester County, PA area for years, operated by the Johnston Brothers. The Johnston Brothers were responsible for the deaths of 4 young men and a 15-year-old female, and had eluded the police for months. Then finally, fearing that he would be the next victim, Ricky Mitchell, who had also been involved in the crime gang, led police to the bizarre mass grave where the 3 bodies were recovered. The 4th young man, Jimmy Sampson, his body was never found. Some locals say it's the ghosts of the boys that caused the trees to turn away from the road. There are many accounts of mutilated animal corpses being found. To this day, piles of dead animals are occasionally found in the woods, and vandalism is common. The woods surrounding Devil's Road even attracted the attention of local Hollywood filmmaker M. Night Shyamalan, who chose this location as the backdrop set to shoot his horror movie, The Village, in 2004.
Yeah, this road scares me. There's a car inside of her, an old lady. Why? Why?
That's a Bronco! Go! Just f***ing go!
Slow down, slow down. Come on, brother. That's not Victor. That's not Victor.
Southeastern Pennsylvania is rich with history. This river was crossed by George Washington and his troops during the American Revolutionary War. Many men fought and died all along the Brandywine River Valley, which makes this a very active place. Downingtown gates of hell, not far from the twin tunnels or red cast iron gates in the vicinity of Sawmill Road, got its name from a pair of wrought iron gates that stood guard at the end of a long driveway leading up to an estate. The property consisted of a house, swimming pool, garage, and small lake near the end of the drive, which was closed off by an old fence, but can be seen from Sawmill Road. This property was supposedly the scene of a gruesome incident that took place sometime back in the 1950s. It is said that a mentally disturbed man killed his wife and children with his shotgun, then dragged their bodies down the long driveway and hung them on top of the wrought iron gate. He then turned the gun on himself. The house lay empty afterwards, left exactly as it had been, right down to the bullet holes in the walls and the doors, and all the bodies were buried on the grounds. Some explorers have come back with tales of lanterns glowing in their abandoned buildings, illuminating furniture covered with dust cloths. Others claim they were chased off by large, very real-looking dogs.
Well, his face broke off, dude. It was a little deer. A little baby buck.
What is going on? I was just sitting here saying, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Amen. At which point, Apollo got startled, jumped up, and around behind me came a snake and it literally went right into the fire pit all by itself without me guiding it or touching it at all. It ran it drove it literally squirmed itself into the fire pit. As you can see, it committed suicide. The serpent threw himself into the pit of fire, removing him from me completely. Amen.